This is the gift of being a human being. Is the ability to experience yourself as truth, as love, as compassion. You know, sometimes these things happen where you don't exactly know where it is in the body, but it's about not going too much into what you don't know and just, I almost want to say, intuitively letting the process guide you. Because even in that moment, if you don't understand a word, if you don't know where something is physically located, this is a good example of how sometimes in life we don't know everything that's happening around us. So we just kind of have to find our way intuitively to what it is that's being guided. And sometimes even there's just through allowing that process, it will show you where it is. Just by you, say for instance, you didn't know where the liver was, but me talking about the liver and tuning into the liver, maybe you actually, your liver itself, through the consciousness of what is being guided, may be triggered and go, here I am, I'm right here. Even if you don't have any idea about the physical location. So in the same way, sometimes in a different language, you may not have a clue what somebody's speaking about, but you get the overall feeling, even though you don't actually know the words. But you can sense like, okay, they're talking about something about going in a specific direction or feeling in a specific way, even though you understand not even one word of what they're saying. You get a general overall kind of intuitive feeling about things. And that's part of what you're learning to develop through these practices, is learning how to listen to that kind of sixth sense, that intuition, and letting it guide you instead of having to go, oh, I understand this word and therefore it's here. Because another thing that may happen is sometimes I may guide you, say energetically, I may go, okay, go into the liver, but you may feel your liver here instead of here because the energy body and the physical organ is not in alignment. And that's another thing, you know, that's a whole new process within the process that if you learn observing those things, that can also teach you a lot. So things are not always as they seem, and this is a very different way of learning than I'm reading in a book, this is what it is what my left brain understands, and this is the only way it is. Because what we're working with is you're working with the physical realm, which is the physical body, but you're working with the energy body, which is connected, but sometimes this is not quite in alignment with each other. So it may be just slightly off, where you may feel your heart more in the center rather than to the left, or, you know, you may even feel your heart in your throat sometimes. It just depends on what's happening energetically for you. And then there's also the mental body and the astral planes and all of the spiritual realms. And I mean, it's endless. The connections, the layers of your existence is such a multitude that you can't expect everything just to be as it is in the physical realm, because sometimes it is not quite as simple. So it's observing this whole process, first of all, and learning how to just kind of find your way through it. And rather than having to understand it, observing where your mind goes when you don't. Do you get frustrated? Do you get angry? Do you go, oh, I don't get this, let's just stop this? Or, you know, why don't I understand this? What's wrong with me? Whatever is going on in your mind is 10,000 times more important than finding your liver. Okay, so that's another part of the process. But I think in your specific situation, what you are referring to is the fact that you were already quite emotionally overwhelmed when you started the session.
Yeah.
And you were struggling just to connect to anything.
Yeah.
It was just hard to focus your mind, to bring your consciousness into one point of space.
Yeah.
And this is the essence of a practice of meditation. Is practicing meditation means learning how to focus your mind. It doesn't matter what is going on around you. Whether there is a band playing right next to you and there's fireworks on this side, knowing that you can always go and find your center of gravity, or find your heart center within a second, just because of practice. Or finding your breathing, or finding your heart rate, connecting with your heart, or what it is that you're feeling or sensing at that moment. So this is the process of learning how to meditate, is learning how to focus your mind. So especially when you're overwhelmed, when you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you're overwhelmed with emotion, sadness, whatever it is, just overwhelmed by information overload, whatever it is, in that moment you can just go, okay, I'm going to focus on my breath and nothing else matters. And if you can't connect with the organs, you can't connect with the others, but you focus on your breath. And if you need to just focus on one point somewhere in the body, you do that. You just do what you can in that moment. Because I think specifically in your case also, you've been very well trained to follow orders. And if you can't follow the order, you go like, but what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Like, is something wrong with me? Or, but why, it's such a simple thing, why can't I do this? And this is a program. This has got nothing to do with you. This is just programming of years of feeling insufficient or not good enough or not being able to do things and being, I just want to say, punished for it on some level. So it's a very deep imprint that's actually needing to be recognized in order for it to learn how to release, find peace, etc. Does that answer your question?
Perfectly, thank you.
So in your specific case, the answer is do what you can and don't try anything beyond what you can in this present moment because you're not capable.
Yeah.
So it's also about learning where your boundaries are as a human being. Because, in spirit form, in breath form, we're endless, we're limitless, we're filled with endless potential. We can become anything and everything we want. But in physical reality, you're still in a 3D reality where you do get ill, you bleed if you cut yourself, you're not indestructible. But it's learning to recognize your limitations, especially when there's things like emotional overwhelm or something like this. It's recognizing that you're not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to be able to do everything, and learning that it's okay. It's okay not to be able to achieve. It's okay not to be able to be perfect. Because we can't be perfect every day. You can be perfect sometimes to some people, but you can't be perfect to all people all times. It's impossible.